the other facility. City attorney had stated that for us to go back as a city and review the conditional use permit, there had to be a violation of specific conditional or specific provisions and conditions in the use permit. So that's the learning point for me, and I see we're not addressing that in this case and wonder why.
It's clear on the question, or Ms. Johnson to respond?
Mayor, Councilmember Beloga, a couple of things are happening now. The city of Bloomington, like most cities, does not impose locational requirements or other conditions on places of assembly such as churches or schools with auditoriums, normally within residential districts. We are currently, as a staff, looking at that. That's we don't know where that's going to go, but some of them might be that they need to be located on or very close proximity to collector streets or arterial streets. We don't have that in place now. It appears that the only conditions that we have in place for these are, do you have adequate parking? And with Al Farouk, we looked at adequacy of parking, not the intensity of the use and proximity to major thoroughfares or collector streets. That's something that we haven't done yet, and it would be premature for the city to say we're going to impose that standard, which doesn't exist right now. And so we don't have any code requirements saying that we have a problem with this application. It seems to satisfy city code requirements with the conditions that they have adequate parking. If they were to violate the conditions and you had a violation, yes, then it can come back.
I find all of that a little bit of a stretch in my imagination, because having been by that area when there are athletic events, I find that virtually all the parking is used, plus lots of on-street parking. And if we add additional uses into that facility, I think it's going to exacerbate the parking beyond that which it already has. So I understand what you said, but I'm not seeing our transporting our experience with Al Farouk to this case and protecting the neighbors.
To the degree, I think one of the things we found problematic with other examples in the community is that if there's, first of all, defining excessive use, overflow, whatever, it's, occasionally, regularly, occasionally, things like that, and then, conditions, and we base our parking on uses, and then we try and say that it looks like it doesn't meet it, but then if there's a problem, I think we have been informed that we don't have the ability to discontinue the use or revoke it. Revoke a conditional use permit to allow it to go away.
Mayor Winstead, Council, if I may clarify, if you have a verified violation of the conditions, you can bring that matter back for suspension or revocation of the conditional use permit. But you have to be very careful to say that it violated the conditions and be able to prove it. In the Al Farouk case, violation or on-street parking would trigger proof of parking measures. And we didn't even have enough evidence there to say that the proof of parking, that they had to construct additional parking. And I